Hello everyone, welcome back to E20 Zone TV. Sunday morning. Hope everyone is all well. It's grey, it's dull, and that's just West Ham. Outside is the same. To my right is Jay. You know who he is, and he's here to give his reaction and thoughts to yesterday's disastrous and sickening defeat. First off, Jay, forget about West Ham. How are you? How are you yourself?
I am fine. I'm a bit miserable. I woke up miserable this morning, as I'm sure a lot of people watching this did as well.
Yeah.
But if we park football to the side, absolutely fine, mate. How are you?
Yeah.
Have you had time to calm down from your 5-minute all-time rant that you had at the start of
Um,
yesterday's video?
Part of me feels embarrassed. I'm gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel a bit embarrassed the way I went off on one, but I'm passionate. I love this club to death, and there's losing games of football that I can accept, but there's losing to them the way we did that I can't accept. And that was like a dagger going straight through the heart yesterday. Like when them goals were going in, and that's 7 minutes and 19 seconds because that's how long it was with them 3 goals hit. Um, it was just like a big cloud come over us, and we didn't know what was going on.
Mm.
And like it was like being in a boxing fight, and basically bang bang bang, bang and we're KO'd on the floor.
Yeah.
It was, and listen, I feel embarrassed for it, but everything I said I meant from the heart. I actually know what I'm saying, and I always say that. Like I will never lie to the people, and I'll never lie to myself to a point. Um, what did you? Let's get your thoughts, mate. Like, what did you think of yesterday?
Yeah, I think having so I tuned in straight after the game and saw bits and bobs of that stream. You captivated exactly how the fan base was feeling after that. There's nothing that you said that was untrue. There's nothing you said that was unfair. You put it exactly how it needed to be put because it just quite simply was not good enough. You look at the difference between the two clubs, and this is always a really painful comparison, right? Spurs are everything that West Ham are not. You look at the way that club has sort of reimagined itself under Ange. And first and foremost, you compare when Ange come in. He come in with a set philosophy. He signed the players that suit his way of playing, which I'm sure is something that we'll come to at some point in this video. And he lives and dies by his philosophy. And if he has players that don't buy into it, they don't play games. Like you look at Jed Spence, right? He was signed for big money, and Ange went, not for me. Didn't get near the first team, has now bought in, and he's still having to graft to try and get anywhere near that first team and just got a new contract because he's now bought into it. That's the kind of way of running a football club that is where the ownership, those making the decisions, the manager and the players are all pulling in the same direction. It ain't always going to be pretty, but it works because they're all on the same hymn sheet, and Spurs have now won 6 in their last 7 games in all comps. You contrast that with what we saw yesterday. Now, if we talk about the first half to start with, for the first, how long was it? But before we conceded, so the first 35 minutes, I was actually really happy. I actually thought we played really well. Granted, we didn't have a lot of the ball. Granted, we didn't have a lot of possession. We knew that was how that game was going to be. I was actually pleasantly surprised that we had set up with a low block, effectively, unlike the City game where we tried to play City their own game and they just passed us off the pitch in the first half. We set up really structured. There was a lot of discipline. You had Guido Rodriguez was absolutely fantastic in that first half. He, as that sort of disciplined 6, was dropping in between the fullback and the centre back, which is an area where you're always going to have to provide support. He was putting in tackles. He was distributing. He played a lovely through ball to Kudus on the left-hand side at one point. And he was the heartbeat of that team. Granted, we didn't have a lot of the ball, but everything he did was perfect. And I'm sitting there at halftime, having then seen the dichotomy of Lucas Paqueta, where he had been really, again, if we speak about him briefly, he'd been really disciplined. I thought him tucking in and supporting Emerson defensively was doing everything that we needed him to do. He made a goal-saving block from Brennan Johnson at one point, And I'm going, Jesus Christ, this guy's actually buying into what we're doing. He's actually doing everything I want to see from him. Wasn't that expansive on the ball. Don't need him to be. Just don't give it away and don't roll around on the floor like an idiot. And what does he do 35 minutes in? He gets beaten in a challenge, and instead of tracking back or trying to win it, he just falls over and cries about it. And he does that again for, what was it, the third goal?
I think so, yeah.
I think the third goal, yeah. Christ, there's so many, it's hard to remember. And at half-time, so I'm going, right, Paqueta's, again, as soon as that's happened and we've conceded, he's gone back to his old self. And he's overcompensating. He's trying too hard. He's trying to be the main man. He's playing for himself. He's doing everything that we've criticised him for over the last, year or so. And it was the start of the downfall of 30, 35 minutes of good work. And what on earth went on in that dressing room at half-time that you can come out and immediately concede 3 goals? What is being said in that dressing room? And I've read, as I'm sure a lot of people have, the Lopetegui admits that his instructions are getting lost in translation. I'm sorry, that isn't good enough. How can you admit that perhaps you're not getting your point across to your team because your knowledge of the English language isn't good enough? The Marcelo Bielsa had that little geezer who was translating for him. I don't care how you've got to get it done. Just get your instructions across. It's not that difficult, is it? The bloke's apparently been living in England. He managed Wolves. He's been watching us for however long before he took over. Looks like he's never watched a game of football, let alone watched us. It looks like he's got no idea how to get the best out of those players. And
I agree.
Like we can go through the fine details of how each goal went in. It doesn't really matter. You can't concede 3 goals against Tottenham in 8 minutes. You can't concede 3 goals full stop in 8 minutes. But you look at what we've done in the big games so far this season against the big teams or the better teams. I don't want to call Tottenham a big team. You look at Chelsea at home, we fell apart. You look at Liverpool away, we fell apart. You can maybe park the City game because there's some things that we did well, but we still fell apart. As soon as we scored our goal, we just didn't know what to do.
But did the City game though? But did the City game though look better than what it actually was? Because if they would have took all their chances, it would have been about 7 or 8.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And here's the problem I've got, right? Because you can look at Liverpool away, we had 45 good minutes. City at home, we had 45 good minutes. Tottenham away, you could say we had 45 good minutes. That's not how you win a Premier League game. You go back to, you look at all of those teams who have taken us apart in a short period of time. That's all they had to do. Like the difference between a good side and a bang average West Ham side is sensing that 10 minutes where you go, we've got these here, and then taking them apart and then just playing like a training game, which is what Chelsea did, which is what Liverpool did, which is what now Tottenham have done. And they've absolutely taken a piss out of us there. And like quite rightly, we've probably made them look a lot better than they were. And again, you look at the first half of good, like structured defending versus giving the ball away in areas that we know you can't give the ball away against Tottenham, and then leaving your centre-backs and full-backs just to try and do it on their own. I felt for Todibo in that 4th goal. What's he supposed to do one-on-one against Son? Like he got absolutely turned inside out. And like the whole idea against Tottenham's wingers is you have to double up on them. Wan-Bissaka, again, has come in for a bit of criticism. I thought he was fine. And I thought the whole idea of if he gets squared up with Son, someone has to cover him. And it worked in the first half. He had that one shot that he bent just wide, but it worked in the first half. That all fell to shit. It all fell apart. And it's just not good enough. Like, it's simply just not good enough.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you're saying, mate. I literally do. I agree with you wholeheartedly on this one. For me, I said it on the afterthought. I said it on the player ratings, and I say it right now. I'm done with Lopetegui. What people got to understand is what is it you want? What I want, I don't think Lopetegui can give us. I really don't. I think he's a man that he's trying to learn a style on the job, and West Ham could end up getting relegated. Yeah, if they continue to go the way they're going, yeah, it could happen. Right, because West Ham are never too good not to go down. Right, that is the old saying. Like, and I don't think we're going to go down, but let's have it right. It ain't good, mate. We're getting piped against teams big time, and the goal difference on the 20th of October is in the minus, like minuses all over the gaff, and it's for me. I feel lost with this side. Now, I see a clip that went up on X, and it's of West Ham in the semi-final against AZ, and they're all celebrating in the change room. Team morale's good.
Yeah, I know the clip.
The team's where's the team spirit? There's none. We've got a load of players there, Jay, with no direction and no guidance, no leadership, and it's a collective for me. This is on the manager or coach. It's on Steiden, and it's on Sullivan to a point. All three of them have to hold accountable for this.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll go through that one by one. On your point of it being a collective and versus being a team of individuals, I mean, Lopetegui called this out a couple of weeks back at Brentford, didn't he? And you look at that first half performance again. It was a team performance in that first half where it was structured. It was a low block. We knew what we had to do. We knew it was going to be ugly. And until we conceded, it was a team performance. And I was really happy with how we were defending. It was even Mikel Antonio was tracking back into the left back area. Like, that's what you've got to do sometimes. And I've got no problem with it. Absolutely no problem with it. You fast forward to the sending off incident, which Mo's an idiot. Like he's just an idiot. Why have you put your hands up in someone's face? I get it. It's passion. Like, he lost his head. I thought, first of all, the TNT coverage of that whole game was a disgrace. An absolute disgrace.
Completely agree.
It was embarrassing. I watched the whole build up. I don't watch a lot of TNT sports, especially now we're not in Europe. It was embarrassing. For them to first and foremost say that could have kicked Van der Ven on the floor. He kicked the ball at him twice, which Van der Ven responded to. So I've got no problem with them having a problem with him pushing him in the face. But Ali McCoist was the one who was like, it's handbags, give him a yellow card and get on with it. I was fine with that. The push in Sarr's face is the red card for me. Like there was no need to do it. But and then Peter Crouch was saying he'd stamped on him. Grow up, Peter Crouch, you fucking idiot. I'm sorry, it was a disgrace, the whole coverage of TNT, but that's another point altogether. Anyway, you look at that incident, right? Mo's lost his head. I think we had a period of about 5 minutes in that second half where we looked like we were actually trying to do something, but the game was dead, so it didn't really matter. I watched that clip back this morning, and I'm not like, this is not a dig at Jared Bowen, right? Because I thought he was okay. I thought he looked lively. I think we're starting to see glimpses of him, but we were rubbish all over the pitch. So, this is not a dig at him. But you look at what a good captain or an experienced captain does in that situation. Bowen runs over and he grabs Van der Ven. He should run over and grab Kudus, because Kudus had lost his head at that point. You've got to recognise Kudus is going to get himself sent off. And a good captain there grabs Kudus by the arms, because Kudus is only 5'0", isn't he? So
picks him up.
I know, yeah, literally. But Bowen's not the biggest bloke, but literally go and grab your player.
If that's Mark Noble, he grabs hold of him, he picks him up, and he frog marches him across the other side of the pitch.
Exactly.
Right, and I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. Listen, on Bowen, is he captain material? Is he not? That's a question for another time. Honestly, that really is, right. But on the sending off, I do agree with you, mate. I think Mo lost his head, but I think the whole team just self-destructed in that second half. Just like I need to know, Jay. Yeah, this is what I need to sort of work out, is what went wrong in the second half so bad. Because for me, Paqueta wasn't right in the first half. And my way of looking at the game is this. You're away at Spurs. It's 1-0. It's half-time. Lucas Paqueta's not doing it. I would have brought on either Alvarez or Soler, shore up the midfield. No, sort of quiet them down in the first 15 minutes of the second half. And basically, on the sort of 65th, 70th minute mark, you sort of go to try and see if you can win the game. Yeah, if you can't win it, don't lose it. I don't know what they were trying to do in that second half, mate, if I'm honest.
I'll tell you what happened. Ange absolutely snatched our soul at half-time. That substitution to bring Sarr on, which I did not see, like Maddison off for Sarr, I was looking at going, Jesus, Ange is worried, bringing on a defensive midfielder for a 10. No, it was a complete just like change of structure and change of where the players were. And what happens, one of their defensive midfielders is unmarked 20 yards out and ghosts in and scores within, 5 minutes of the second half? It was a genius substitution. And that is the difference between a top-level coach and a bang-average coach, which is what we've got, realistically. Because to your point, there was problems there. We probably needed to change something. Probably should have been Paqueta come off for Alvarez. Give us a bit more energy in midfield. Give us someone who actually looks like they care. Because when Alvarez come on, the game was dead. But at least he was putting in 100%. He was running round. He had nothing to offer. But at least he was, even at 4-1, Alvarez, as soon as there's a free kick, he sprints over, picks the ball up, puts it down and plays and goes, right, let's try and do something. Because that's a man who, as we said before the game in the preview, that's a bloke that gets it. He knows big games. He loves a derby. You as I have, and as a lot of people probably have seen on Twitter recently the clips of him playing for Mexico against America, where he gets a bloke sent off from just winding him up. Like, that's the kind of stuff that we just don't have in that team. That midfield was completely absent in that second half. And again, you can park Guido Rodriguez's brilliant first 45 minutes, but it fell into insignificance in the end because Souček, again, I'm not going to dig out Souček. He was just a ghost the whole game. I couldn't tell you a time where I noticed Thomas Souček. And that second goal, he's out of position and he doesn't sprint to get back because that's his man. I appreciate he was over on the right-hand side, like supporting with the fullback who got forward. But as soon as that ball starts to come across, he's got to be aware that his man is unmarked 25 yards out. It's not Mikel Antonio's job to track him into the 18-yard box. So Souček left a massive, massive hole that resulted in their goal. The third goal, again, Paqueta gives it away. And Paqueta is playing in the classic Paqueta way of just playing for himself. He gets a tiny bit of contact, he just falls over. Like, I'm sorry, it's not good enough. You're playing in the London derby. You're playing in our biggest derby of the season. You can't just fall over because someone touched you. It's football. Like netball. You know what I mean? Like,
I completely agree with you, Jay. Like, I literally do. Yesterday I felt broken. I really did. Like, I felt broken with it all. I was like, is this where we've come from? Like, I understand it with people who were passionate Moyes out people and singing it from the hymn sheet, yeah. But what it is with these people that were passionately Moyes out, they did not look further afield other than Moyes out. And that is the problem. I was screaming this on this platform for a long time. And this is one of the reasons why I won't go to West Ham while Sullivan's in charge. Because Sullivan always looks after himself and he doesn't look after the fans. Yeah. He's brought in a manager that is a name. He's just a name, right? And that's all he is. Like, he's a name. And when people look at the CV doesn't match what we're trying to do. A bit like Tim Steiden's recruitment this summer doesn't match on how we want to play. They look good individually, but as a team collective, they're all shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? You've got fullbacks who can't cross, and you've got Nicholas Forgul up front who, when he does play, how's he going to get service if they can't cross the ball into the box? You've got a midfield that is non-existent, literally non-existent. People are going straight through our midfield like a polo. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just it's dangerous. We're in a dangerous situation right now. Now Mo is suspended. Lucas Paqueta is a man that personally for me needs to be taken completely out of the team. Yeah, not even anywhere near the squad, and let him deal with his stuff, what's going on, because he's a liability at the minute. Like, we've got a player in there that is giving us zero. Basically, we're playing with 10 men every single game. Do you know what I'm saying? And I said it on the afterthought at the start of my famous rant that's gone a bit viral. To a point, and this is a question, is when was the last time he had a good game? Like, not for a long time, Jay.
Couldn't tell you.
I could tell you the time that I remember. Wolves at home, and that was December the 14th or 15th of last year. Because I remember it. The reason why I remember it clear as day, because my birthday is the 16th of December, and that's my birthday weekend. And he had a great game. He assisted 3 goals, and he was flawless in that game. Absolute flawless. Yeah. But he hasn't had a good game for ages. Like, literally for a long time. And I think we've got a problem with him. I think we're trying to do something that most of our players can't do. And he's trying, like, I don't know how to sort of go around this, but we're at a bit of a crossroads to a point, because, like, what do we do? Do we go defensive? Do we go controlling? And even so much to say this, if we can't see what he's trying to do, then how the hell is he supposed to know what he's trying to do? And if his stuff's getting lost in translation, this is bad. This is bad. Anything else you want to add on, mate?
Yeah, I mean, like, to that point, what do we do from here? Like, you look at it again. I'm sure we'll go through like what we're going to do against Manchester United, but I completely agree with you. Like, I have defended Lucas Paqueta for a long time because he's got the quality. He's done it for us before, but that was the last straw for me yesterday. You've got to drag him out of that team now, kind of regardless of the fact that Kudus is suspended for the next at least 3 games. You've got to drag him out of that team now. Yesterday was just not good enough for me, and I can park the fact that, yes, he's not the same player. Yes, he's playing a bit more restricted. I can't forgive against Spurs rolling around on the floor and giving them a counter-attack when they are literally a counter-attacking team. That is their power. That is their danger. That is how they scored a majority of their goals, is quick wingers, find them in space, one-on-one against the fullback. And we got done by it multiple times yesterday because of him. And I can't forgive that. So he's got to come out of that team. We can park what we do from there, like with the team, because I'm sure we'll talk about it in the upcoming week. What do we do? Because this is the thing, and a point that you raised, right, is the people who were Moyes out, who are now Lopetegui out, you've got blood on your hands. Like, you absolutely have blood on your hands. If you hounded Moyes out of this club when we'd just finished 9th, and now you're Lopetegui out after 8 games, what do you actually want? I'm genuinely intrigued, because if you want Graham Potter's not the answer. Like, I've got no bad words to say about Graham Potter, but his success at Brighton was down to a fantastic technical staff that he had around him. So if you're now Lopetegui out and you also don't like Tim Steidten, if you want Graham Potter, you're about to hand more responsibility to Tim Steidten. And like, we all can look at the massive flaws that our squad has now. So Graham Potter is the best candidate. Not right for West Ham United because of the structure we've got, because of the owner we've got, and because of the lack of support that we've got in a recruitment department around him. So you can forget Graham Potter. You then get Gareth Southgate, who was hounded out of England because he couldn't win anything with the most gifted squad of English players that we've potentially had. Definitely had. I'll say it. The most gifted squad that we've had since '66. And Southgate couldn't win anything with them. He's waiting for a Premier League job. He's going to be the same as David Moyes. Like, if you want Gareth Southgate, you're going to have the same problems in 8 games as you've had with this manager and the previous manager. So what do you actually want? Because as much as, and we can talk about anyone who now wants Lopetegui gone, I hear you. I'm not seeing anything that I'm enthused by. I'm not seeing any signs of this project that we're supposed to be backing to actually sit there and go, this is the right man. But I don't see the alternative. For me, where we go from here, we're going to have to just suck this up and deal with it for a season. Like, it ain't good. It ain't like, I'm not sitting here going, it's going to be fine. I'm as worried as you are. My gut tells me we've got enough where we'll finish probably upper bottom half. And that's not what I want for West Ham United. That is not the level of talent that we've got in this squad. We're capable of more. But I don't think that changing the manager again is right, because I can't trust the owner to go and buy someone out of their contract and get the right manager.
He won't do it, mate.
That's what you have to do. And if you're mid-season, especially, you're going to get a new bloke in and they're going to inherit a squad of players where they go, well, this ain't right. This ain't got the right balance to it. This hasn't got the right personnel in the right areas that I want to play the right way. So you have to wait until the summer, and then you have to buy someone out of their contract, which we aren't going to do. So we're stuck, lads. Like, I've got nothing else to say for you other than, if you're Lopetegui out, just save your energy, because it ain't going to happen.
I can understand people's passion for wanting Moyes out, yeah, because they wanted to see West Ham be the best that they can be, to a point, yeah. Better style, look good, compete for Europe. I can get that. What I can't understand is that, and I kept saying it quite a few times, is that Moyes will never be the problem, and was the problem. Sullivan will always be the problem at West Ham. And he would always go for that sort of cheap manager that's available, and he'd always look at the CV. I've got a slight problem with Steidten on this one, because I see Steidten yesterday. I don't know whether you did.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
He's in the fucking, like, he's in the tunnel talking to the players.
What is that all about?
What is going on here? Like, do you know what I mean? This guy's a technical director, right? He's a person. He's not the head coach, right? Why is he there? Do you know what I'm saying? Listen, for how good Tim Steiden's done, and he's done some good stuff, yeah, I'll give him his praise. But with praise comes criticism, yeah, and you've got to criticise him for that. What the fuck is he doing in the tunnel?
Mm.
Like he's got no reason to be in that tunnel at all. He should be in the stands, right? So I've got a problem with him. And when I say I've got a problem with him, I've got a problem with him with having no fucking midfield.
Mm.
Like we've got no midfield at all. Um, and obviously I've got a problem with Lopetegui to a point because Lopetegui, in a space of 8 games, he's pissed off Mo. Mo, I ain't gonna say Mo's down tools, but Mo's not the same player that he was last season. Far from it. He's
Yeah.
played Mo out of position. We've got players who are a shadow of themselves, like complete shadow of themselves. Bowen's not the same player, right? Paqueta's not the same player. Yeah, even though he was bad last season, but at the beginning of the season he was pretty decent. Um, we've we're just not that team. Like we've gone from a team that was really pushing Bayer Leverkusen and nearly beat them at the LS to a team there that is struggling to win a game to a point. Do you know what I mean? And I said it on the afterthought, Jay. Yeah, 8 points from these games, and we're lucky to have 8.
Mm.
That's like Fulham, Brentford, Palace, uh, Ipswich. I would probably say we should have about 4 points, if I'm being honest. Do you know what I mean? 4 or 5 points, because like, even the Palace game to a point we got away with it in the last 30.
They could
Do
have
you
been. They could have
understand?
been 2-0 up at half time. Palace, like comfortably.
Easily could have been 2-0 up at half time. So I get I get the anger with people. For me, I don't see Lopetegui getting us to where I believe West Ham should be. So my opinion on Lopetegui is I I'm not a fan of him. I don't want
Mm.
I'd rather see him gone now rather than later. The issue I've got, and this is a major issue, is this man can't defend, he can't grind the result out. Where do we go with him now? Like, because it seems like to me West Ham have to play great to get a result in order to sort of progress. If we don't play great and we're just say for example we're playing crap, we're getting beat. It's as simple as that, and we're not grinding something out of nothing. So I don't know, mate. I don't know. To round this up, how do we go about it next week?
We take Paqueta out the lineup. We add something more solid in midfield. I'd be happy with Guido continuing. I'd be happy with Alvarez coming in. It ain't pretty. Like Rodriguez, Alvarez, Souček as a midfield three is ugly as sin. But we got to get ugly. Like
Yeah,
we've proven that we aren't doing it the right way. If there is a right way to play football, we ain't doing it the pretty way. So let's just get ugly.
yeah,
Somerville's going to come in on the left hand side. It's the one silver lining that we'll get. Like Somerville's going to get a run of games now and show us what he can do. Let's just try play ugly against them because that United team, yes, they've been poor this season. They just managed to grind out a result against Brentford. They're coming off the back of a win, and like they ain't going to be walkovers. We ain't just going to turn up to that game. If we turn up and just think we're going to beat Manchester United just because they're not what they once were, got another thing coming. We'll get turned over again. We could lose 2 or 3-0. But like that team still has the ability in it where they can hurt us. So we have to just get ugly and we have to just try and grind something out. Because if you lose against Manchester United at home next week, granted, the losses, and this is the conversations that will be going on at board level, right? Who have we lost to? Yes, we've lost to City, Chelsea, Tottenham, Villa, all top 6 sides. You lose to Manchester United. And again, the excuse will be, oh yeah, but they'll be fighting around for Europe as well this season. That ain't good enough for me. Like we're West Ham United. Like we have been that team fighting in the top half, fighting in the top 6, playing in Europe for the last 4 years. Like just because we're losing to teams against Europe, it is not an excuse for me. And if we were losing but putting in fantastic performances, and I could see a philosophy and I could see the signs and I could go, but here's the reason why we should be back in this. Here's the reason why it's good. Then I would honestly say it. But if we lose next weekend, where do we actually turn? I've genuinely got no clue. There's talks of Edin Terzic. Why would he come and take West Ham over? Like he did a great job at the German club Dortmund. Why would he come to West Ham? What's he going to want to do in East London? He's been there. He's done that. He saw the way that Bilic got hounded out of the club as well. So why would he come back to West Ham? So if you think there's a made and ready replacement out there, like again, I hear you. If you want Lopetegui out, I don't disagree with you. But for me, I'm like, if you think there's a replacement out there who's going to come in and turn this team's fortunes around immediately, I don't agree. I just don't see him out there. So for me, let's get ugly. Let's just buckle in for what is going to be a horrible season of West Ham United, and like we'll manage to grind our way to like 12th, 13th. I reckon it ain't going to be nice. It ain't what I want. But get to the end of the season and then see who's available.
Mm. Thank you very much, Jay, for coming on. I really do appreciate it, mate. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to E20 Zone TV, and hit that notification bell. That's been Jay's Fancam review of Spurs 4. What's that for gritted teeth? West Ham United 1. I just want to say this before I make a move. For me, yesterday, I was very, very angry straight after the game. Passions were running high. If I offended anyone out there, like, I do apologise, but I'm a passionate guy. I love this club to death, and to see us get beat the way we did against the side that, let's be honest, we don't like, was hard. It was hard to take, and this is going to run deep with us for probably the next few weeks, to a point, until we get a win and start looking like a team again. But I think moving forward, we're going to have to get ugly, like Jay says, and we're going to have to sort of grind out a result and just play a bit. I don't have to say it, but play a bit of Moyes ball to a point and grind these fucking results out. If we want to get where we want to go to, we're going to have to do it. And it ain't going to be pretty, but it is what it is. So, yeah, smash a like on the video, subscribe to E20 Zone TV, and I'll see you again in the next one. Peace.